Hello, everybody. Welcome tonight. That chair in the background looks really bad. Just a minute. See my little pregnant belly starting there. Hi, Sky. Hi, Amanda. All right, you guys are ready to go. Hi, Celine. Good to have you guys. I sent the text out, so I'm seeing people are starting to join right now. That's such a nice feature. Hey, Morgan and Ashley. Thank you, Celine. I'm only going on 13 weeks, but my belly has already popped out, and the baby's only like that big. But this is baby 8, so it's going to be big. It just popped out in the last week. Hey, Wendy and Haley and Joyce. Good to have you guys. You signed up for the text, you never got it. I sent it out. Maybe it's probably going to come like in the next 30 seconds. I don't know. It should come. Hey, Jen. Hey, Anastasia. Lots of people. I hope you guys came with your question. Now, remember, like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. We are up to 1,922 subscribers. So we're getting so close to 2,000. I'm going to do a special giveaway when we hit 2,000. So that's the goal. We really want to hit 2,000 here, hopefully by summer. That's, you know, by the time it's hot. I guess technically now it's almost summer. But by the time it's hot out in the next couple months, I really want to hit it. Thank you, Sunny. Hello, Dawn. Happy homemaker. Try not to miss you. Okay. Also, one thing that a man from our church, actually Morgan's husband, reminded me, if you guys can tag me, I think it's tag me, Gently Led Sisters, in the chat. It will highlight it and make it yellow. So then that way, if you have a question, if you just do that, I can see it. And then I don't have to keep scrolling through all the chat to try to find the questions. So I think if you highlight at Gently Led Sisters, then it will make it yellow for me. And then that way the questions will stand out. So try doing that when you do it. And then also, if you want the text, you know, text Gently Led, all lowercase, to 31996. Hopefully you'll get it. I have a lot. Morgan just said she didn't get it, but I have a lot of people saying that they haven't gotten it. Hello, Karen. Okay, so Karen also has a new video up, and I meant to tell you this, Karen, last week, but I had watched it before you posted it. It was great. You did a great job editing it and all that. I actually just did an interview with her last week or the week before, I can't remember, and it's up on her channel, and it is about music and about piano lessons, what books to use, different things like that. So it's a really good video, and she has it up on her channel at our house. So check that out if you want to. Plus, she just has amazing resources. If you are new to homeschooling, you're looking at different curriculums, she is your woman. So go check that out. She has a lot of resources on her site for that. Good. Good. See, Sky, now I can see it highlighted it for me, so I can see the questions. If you just highlight at Gently Led Sisters, then I'll be able to see all the questions. And I actually have 7 or 8 questions that were already asked of me, so we're going to get to those too. But we can get right into it. I know you guys like these. Little disclaimer, I am not the advice guru, okay? So I will give you what advice I have as well as I can, but take it with a grain of salt. A lot of this is my opinion. Please, by all means, if during these questions you ladies have advice, we're all a community of ladies helping each other out. So please type out your advice in the comments too for the ladies. And I always leave the live chat up. So that way you can go through and scroll and read as well. So anyone that watches this, even after it's done, they can see the live chat and go through and read the advice as well. So, and like Karen said, it also helps to put your comment in all in caps if you have a question, so it stands out and we won't think it's rude. But I really like it how it stands out to me in orange, because then I can go through and just see the questions as you do them. So let me get first into the ones. Well, I'll just kind of go every other one. I'll start with the first question. One of the first questions that I was asked on my Facebook post. Rebecca asked, I'm not a mom yet, but I like the videos, blogs, and advice you give out to ladies. What is your advice to a young woman who is dating, especially in the area of physical and emotional boundaries? This is one area I actually have experience in, and I can actually give some advice. So the way I did it, the way my husband and I did it, was we had very strict guidelines. We were never alone. We always had a chaperone, whether that was a sibling, an older sibling, not like a 5-year-old sibling or something, whether that was a parent around at all times. All of our dates were chaperoned. For some of our dates, sometimes we would just kind of sit at a table alone while, our parents sat across the restaurant or something. And we had pretty strict physical requirements as well, because even though our intention was for it to end in marriage, we were not married yet. And I do believe the verse in the Bible that says it is good for a man not to touch a woman. And so we were very careful. We saved our first kiss for after we were pronounced husband and wife, and mainly just as a way to safeguard ourselves, because you will hear a lot of things where, purity is the end goal, but they get carried away. Hormones are going crazy. They start kissing, making out, and it leads to more and more things. So, and just for the fact that I wanted to save myself and my purity for my future husband. And while our intention was marriage, we didn't know until it actually happened if that would be the actual goal. I knew of friends that were dating seriously and it ended up in a breakup. So I didn't want that happening. I didn't want to give away part of myself and have that happen. So, physical and emotional. Now, I believe that I don't believe in loose dating or just dating for fun. I do believe in dating to find a spouse. So I would say that for my daughters, I don't want them dating unless it's a man that has the intention of marriage. I don't want a man dating my daughter just for the fun of it or for the thrill of it or just for kicks. I want the main goal to be marriage. So definitely they're going to have serious intentions. Now, if something comes up during that dating time, lots of red flags, there's always that out before you get married, because we do believe marriage is for life. So it is one of the most important decisions you can make. So I would definitely get to know someone, maybe in church, maybe in group activities. And then once you get to know them and you're thinking of them as a potential spouse, maybe then that can lead to dating with the intention of marriage, just always a serious intention, and then go from there. So I hope that helps. That's kind of how we did it. I like the way we did it. I feel like it's a principle that will work well for anyone who wants to do it. And it just provided a lot of safeguards in our life and kept us pure. And we both married pure. And, it's been amazing ever since. So it's definitely worth it for sure. Okay. What is this one? Okay. So Sky had said, so the first question is what I messaged you early is where the soul winning scriptures. I will have to look for that. If anything, I can type them out again. When we switched over to the new website, it might not have gotten transferred. Karen, she's looking for a blog post I did about commonly used scriptures that I use out soul winning. So remind me to look for that later. So, okay. Amaze Me said, hi, I have a question. When first dating someone, should you know in the first few days of going out if you like that person and want to pursue a relationship, or does it take time to develop feelings? I think it definitely sometimes takes time to develop feelings. And feelings, there's a difference between feelings and love. Okay. Anyone that's been married for a long time knows that when you first get married, you think you're in love, but you don't really figure out what love is until much later, And so I definitely believe that you need to date someone that you're attracted to, physically attracted to, that you are attracted to, intellectually, that you can carry a good conversation on. I definitely think that you can tell if you click or not. Now, for my husband and I, we actually did not get along when we first met, but We were both pretty young. We were teenagers. So as we both grew older and more mature, we really started clicking. And for us, it actually started out as a friendship, and then it got deeper and deeper. So we, once we started getting along and found out that we had a lot of common ground, a lot of common interests and things like that, then it got deeper and deeper. And, we actually spent about 9 months to a year really developing a strong friendship. And then we actually only dated for like a month before he proposed, and then we were married 6 months later. So a lot of people think that's so fast, but we had known each other for a couple of years, and we had been building a friendship for almost a year by the time that happened. So okay. So let me see. I think I missed one. I don't know, Karen, if you meant to, but you hid Ashley, so I wouldn't hide her. I know Ashley, and she's a friend. So she asked, how is the best way to help a friend in a divorce? I have a friend who is married to a pastor, and he has abused her physically, wanting to kill her. She is in hiding. That is a pretty loaded question right there. Yeah, that's very loaded. First of all, I would just say, just keep the line of communication open with her. She's obviously scared, and she, if she's in hiding, just keep that confidential. Don't let it out where she is or anything like that. Also, as far as just be there for her support. Tell her that you're there for her. If she needs to vent, if she needs to talk to you, if you can help out financially, at times, try to help her out financially. Just ask her what she needs. Be open and honest about, ask her to be open and honest about what she needs. If she needs something, you need to know. So that's a tough situation. I've never been in a situation where I'm scared for my life and running from my husband. So that is tough. I would recommend that she would get help, whether that's a trusted pastor or a trusted friend, reach out and get help. Obviously have the authorities involved if it comes down to her life being in danger, get a restraining order, things of that nature. So that is that is a tough question for sure. A lot of these I don't have a lot of advice for. No, Ashley's not a troll. Yeah, Ashley's a regular listener. I don't have a lot of advice for some of these questions because honestly, I don't know it all, and I have not been through some of these situations. So if I have not been through some of these situations, then I don't know if I have the right kind of advice to give. I don't feel qualified in it. Now, some of these situations that come up, I have counseled people. I have seen them in my own life, being a pastor's wife. I've been in the ministry a long time. And when you deal with people, you see all types of situations. So I have dealt with some of this stuff that's similar. And I've made some mistakes with it. I've learned some things from it. So if I can share anything like that, then that is, I'll try. And she said she's been counseled to get a divorce by her other pastor. Her husband is a drug addict. He has hurt their children. So she finally left 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry to hear that. And I do believe when it comes to protecting your children, I believe in leaving an abusive spouse, because, you need to protect those children at all costs. And so I do believe in separation at that point, especially if your life is in danger or the kid's life is in danger. So for sure. Okay, so let me go back to these. Yes, I'll take questions regarding music. Sure. Why not? I literally can't think of a question you haven't addressed in a show. In your opinion, what did some of the great men in the Bible do wrong to end up with some bad kids? Noah, Eli, and David. That is a good question. There are a lot of, and as you look through the Bible, you'll find stories of a lot of good men that did raise some really crummy kids. Now, for David specifically, I believe that he just did not have a reign on his household. If you notice, it never seems like he loved he was close to many of his wives. And when you have the instance of one of his sons raping his half sister, he did nothing about it, which to me, I don't understand that. How did nothing get done about it? And then it turns out later, Absalom dealt with it. And then when you just see how horrible Absalom turned out as well, I almost think it's one of those areas where he just wasn't very involved in his children's lives. And back then, it was a very different culture than it is now. I think we take child rearing a lot more seriously nowadays than men of old did back in the Bible days. And so I just think it's these men just not passing on their values. And you do see some instances of good kings that arose, in Judges, in the books of Judges and things, that obviously they had been trained well and they had been taught well because they served the Lord when they were kings. So that a lot of it depended on being taught by either their father or their mother. And I really feel like back then, fathers were not very involved in their children's lives. So I think nowadays, men and fathers are better about that. And the father is such an important part in their child's upbringing. So, they didn't do good at passing on their values to their children. So, okay. Let's see. How do you overcome feelings of guilt about past sins that you've committed prior to getting saved? Or maybe even after getting saved, but you got over them? That happens to me sometimes. We actually just did a video about this, letting go the guilt of the past or something like that. Mrs. Sherry Thompson, just a few weeks ago. Go check that out. It's great. We addressed all of those questions. Basically, it's just baggage that you've got to let go of. You just got to overcome that guilt because you don't want it holding you down. And, if you commit sins after you get saved, just confess them to the Lord, ask for forgiveness to whoever you hurt. And then, purpose to do better. Every day is fresh with no mistakes in it. So get up the next day and pray, start, do your Bible reading and determine that you're going to gain victory over that in your life. Just take one day at a time if it comes to getting victory over, certain things in your past. So thank you, Karen. There it is. Sky, there's the link. So go print that off. Okay, someone also sent in a question. Advice for getting things done when you have a clingy baby. I do baby wear, which helps. My advice is lower your expectations. Seriously, it's really, really tough. When you don't have older kids to help you out and you have a clingy baby, it's really hard. And if you're driving yourself crazy, trying to have a perfect house or even like 3 super healthy meals a day, that's going to be hard. So do simple meals. I did so many simple meals when I had little kids and fussy babies. I'm trying to think of some of them. Spaghetti is a very simple meal, even though my husband hates it. Homemade pizza is a very easy meal, especially if you make the dough, the bread machine to make the dough. And then all you pretty much have to do is roll it out, add the toppings. Just lower your expectation when it comes to cleaning. Maybe declutter your house so it's a lot easier to keep up with. Get rid of a lot of the kids' toys. Keep it contained to one area. Those are all little things that helped me when I had a super fussy baby. I've had about every other baby has been super fussy. So my first was horribly fussy. My third, my fifth, and then my seventh. Yeah, they were all like super, super, super fussy. But now, when I had Kelly, I had a lot of help, and that has helped tremendously kind of take the edge off of things, allow me to accomplish something, or I have my teenagers, do the things for me. Clean the kitchen, clean the house, whatever. All the kids pitch in and help. So it definitely gets easier as you get older for sure. So, okay. So, advice for picking a pediatrician. Whoa, I lost it. Okay. What questions should I ask when interviewing different ones? We picked a pediatrician just based off of word of mouth. That would be my first hint, would be asking your church members, which pediatrician do you go to, word of mouth, what's good in the area. And then it's really, really hard, especially in Illinois, to find a good one. I would ask about, I've actually never interviewed one. We've just always found ones we like just by word of mouth. That's kind of what it's been for me to find them. And I never really interviewed them. So I just kind of went in and said, this is what I'm doing. So I am lucky that I am blessed that I have a vaccine friendly one. He pushes vaccines, obviously, and he believes you should have them, but he respects my decision to not give them to my children. So that is very rare in Illinois, and I really like him. He's just direct with you. He has a good bedside manner. He's really good with the kids, and he doesn't do crazy extreme tests. He starts with, like, if your child is having a problem and he's concerned, he starts with the lowest invasive test. So I really appreciate that about him. So word of mouth for sure. As far as interviewing, what's important to you? Is no vaccine's important? Then ask him how he feels about that. Ask him if he'll see you if you choose not to vaccinate your children. Are non-invasive tests, versus invasive testing, something on your mind, ask him about that. Ask him what he feels about invasive testing versus non-invasive testing. Maybe it would be great if you could find someone with a little bit of holistic approach, although that would be almost next to impossible, I would think, here in Illinois. And that's why it's good to have a chiropractor too, in my opinion. I have a chiropractor. I also have a pediatrician. So if it's something that can be helped, like ear infections, I'll try the chiropractor first and go from there. And a lot of times they just need an adjustment. Something's just out of line and the fluid's building up. So you can kind of have the best of both worlds if you have a chiropractor and you have a pediatrician. So, Jess said, just joining, don't know the topic of questions. Any question that you want, just throw it out there. I'm a first-generation Christian mom to 3 littles under 5. Scripturally, can you guide me dealing with my older 2 having nightmares? I would maybe start out trying to play calming music throughout the house. Try to keep the chaos low in your house during the day. When it comes to going to bed, maybe try a routine. Try a nice warm bath with lavender in it, just to kind of calm them down. Read them a story, maybe read Bible set to music, or have them listen to Bible set to music as they're falling asleep. Maybe have some kind of nightlight. I know for a long time my kids had this like solar system nightlight, and it was really comforting just seeing the stars rotate on their ceiling at night. They really, really liked that. Now one of my daughters has a salt lamp that she keeps dimmed on low for the whole night. So maybe kind of having some soft light that won't interrupt their sleep. Praying with them before they go to bed. If they wake up with a nightmare, comfort them, pray with them, let them know that God's there and he's watching over them. I hope that can help. I've never really had any kids that have dealt with nightmares. So, but me, myself, I've woken up crying before and, having crazy dreams. I think it's my imagination. So those are just some of the things that have kind of helped me as I have gone through that. So, okay. So then we have another question, what to do. Now, this one is really tough for me. So if any of you ladies have advice for this lady, please leave it in the chat. What to do when your spouse completely falls off the wagon, not interested in church anymore, started drinking and being angry. That's really tough because I've never dealt with that. My husband's always been the strong spiritual leader in our home. But if in my mind, I'm trying to imagine what would I do if this happened. So what I would do is I would continue just doing what I know is right. The Bible says to assemble. So I would continue going to church. I would continue taking my children to church with me. Hopefully my husband would give me the blessing for that. I would continue doing what's right. I would continue trying to be patient and kind. You know, I would not nag him about it, because ultimately I've had women ask me, should I put my foot down when it comes to my husband bringing alcohol in the home? And I actually asked my husband about this, and he said, no, it's his home. So he has the right to bring alcohol in his home if he wants. And well, I don't like that advice because I hate alcohol. You know, it is the man's home. So I would not try to nag. I'm sure he knows how you feel about it. I would just continue to support him, love him, care for him, and pray for him. We underestimate the power of prayer. And maybe through you, the Bible talks about, you know, wives that are married to someone that's not saved. They talk about how they are a good testimony and their husband, you know, sees that. So maybe through your testimony, it can convict your husband, and eventually he'll come back to the Lord. But definitely don't underestimate the power of prayer. You know, pour your heart out to the Lord, pray for him without ceasing. You know, just try to be the best wife you can be in that situation. I know it's hard. It's a lot easier said than done. So that's about all I can offer about that. Yes, Wendy, we have lots of single guys here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 off the top of my head, at least 4 or 5 single guys here. So yes, we do. Not very many single girls, though. It's just single guys. But a few of those single guys have moved here, so they're able to. You know, single girls aren't able to move. Yep, Morgan answered the question already. Oh, good for you, Ashley. Congratulations. She had her twins. Oh, yeah, I bet it's a whole new ball game. Sheila said, I just asked in one of the ladies' groups thoughts on intermittent fasting for weight loss. I think it can work really, really well. I actually love doing this. I actually do this without thinking when I'm not pregnant. I drink my coffee in the morning when I wake up, and then I'm not hungry till lunch. So I actually only eat from about noon to 7 or 8. Now I have a friend that's been doing this, and she only eats from noon to 5, and she's lost a bunch of weight doing it. So I think it's good for your body to have the break from food, and I think it's very healthy. So I would encourage it. I've seen really good results from it. Now, because I am pregnant and my blood sugar and all that, I have to eat. I have to force myself to eat in the morning. I still don't like eating in the morning very much, but I have to force myself to eat in the morning. But I like it when I can do the intermittent fasting. It's something that works good for me, not necessarily losing weight for me, but just keeping the weight off as far as not gaining weight. I don't gain weight when I do that. So Jen, that's a good idea. She said, we used to have those night terrors when our older kids were younger. I would read Psalms 91 every night with them and pray with them. It helped. So what church is LBC? It's Liberty Baptist Church. That's my church. It's the church that my husband pastors. So, okay, I'm losing the questions here. Okay, let me see. Where are we going? I lost them all. Okay, here we go. Oh, Ashley, that's tough. That's really cool that you had twins, though. I've always wanted twins. I thought it would be so cool. Yvonne asked, my question would be how to overcome feelings of loneliness as in not having female friends who share in the faith you're able to see and speak with in person. I would first of all say, do you have a good church that you're going to? Of course, we're in the Corona time right now, and a lot of churches have shut down, but some have not. Thank you for praying for this yesterday. Actually, I meant to mention that at the beginning, but it went really well. There was many churches across Illinois that opened. We did not have any problems. Our parking lot was full. We had a good crowd here, and no one called the police as far as I know. But our county sheriff had just issued a statement saying he would not uphold the Pritzker's order. So that might have helped that it was out there in the news. People kind of knew, don't even bother the police with this because they're not going to do anything about it. But, you know, one of the main guys leading the charge kind of backed down at the last minute, and that was disappointing. But one good thing that came from it, that my friend pointed out today, was it got a lot of other churches to go ahead and open up, and they might not have. You know, we've been open since the start, but a lot of churches might not have opened up had he not tried to at least lead the charge. So that is one good question, one good outcome of it. So, but Yvonne, definitely try to find a good IFB church. There's nothing like fellowshipping. There's nothing like being around other Christian women. They can encourage you. Try to find someone locally that maybe you can meet up for coffee, every now and then, to just kind of encourage you. Different communities like this, videos that, stuff like that always helps. So it is hard, but definitely have a support system. Have people that you can reach out to, even if it's just texting, and that'll help combat the feelings of loneliness. To have friends, you must show yourself friendly. So sometimes you might have to take the first step, and you might have to step out of your comfort zone in order to have those friends, but it'll be worth it once you get those close relationships and stuff. So how many kids would I like to have? I know you have 8 kids, almost 8. One's cooking. But are you hoping to have more? I don't know. I'm just kind of taking it day by day. I am almost 40, so I do not know how much longer my fertility will last. I can already tell that it's changing. So I am so grateful to the Lord that I got pregnant with this one, and it's stuck, so far. I'm almost 13 weeks. So, I have that fear. I've had 2 very bad miscarriages, 1 very early miscarriage. And so out of this will be the 11th time I've gotten a positive pregnancy test. And, out of those 11 times, 3 have ended in miscarriage. So obviously I'm nervous about it. It's always in my head. But, when we got married, we said we always wanted 10. And we're only going to be 2 away, after this November, December. So I don't know, maybe I'll have 10. Maybe I'll end up with 10. That would be pretty cool. Since my husband and I when we got married, we're like, let's have 10 kids. But my mom went through menopause early, so I don't know when exactly I will. She started going through it in her 40s, and I am almost 40. I will be still 39 when this one is born, but I turn 40 in January. So I don't know. I'm just kind of leaving that up to the Lord at this point. So thanks, Amber. I hope I have an easy baby too. I'm due for one. I'm due for one. So, oh, that is tough when everyone is a senior. Is there any way you could kind of look around and see if there's an IFB church with maybe younger people your age? So, what do you think about God being the author of sin? I have never been asked that question before. The author of sin. I don't believe God was the author of sin, was he? I know nothing about the subject. I will have to dig into even what that means. So I'll get back to you. And then my husband and I are the youngest couple. You're 22 and your husband's 26, and the closest in age, I believe, are 40s. 40-year-olds are cool. I'm saying that because I'm almost 40. So, yeah, if your husband would be open to you kind of visiting. I mean, do you know no other couple your age, in your area? Do you not have any other friends? That would be really tough. I will say almost all my best friends live far away. So I am a texter. I like to text. Those of you that know me know that I do not like talking on the phone. I like texting. And it's because you can do other stuff, between texts. You can be busy working on other stuff, So if it wasn't for texting, I wouldn't even have as close of friends as I do. So, and I get together with, my one best friend in Missouri once a year. I go there for a week. So we see each other for a week at like one time a year. But we talk almost daily, on the phone through texting. So, technology is wonderful, and there are a lot of pluses about it. So, take advantage of technology if you need to. Let me see. Okay, so let me take one of these other questions. Next one, how to get through church services with an 18-month-old. My daughter is 16 months old now. We don't make it through many services. Luckily, I have children that help out. So they kind of rotate. A lot of times on Wednesdays, I'll stay in there with her because it's been a long day of teaching and she hasn't been with me very much. So, and, her sisters have been helping out with her. So a lot of times on Wednesdays, I'll stay in there with her. But on Sundays, we start out with her in the service and we end up back in the nursery. Or one of my girls takes her back in the nursery. So 18 months old is really tough. I would just start out gradually sitting. And if you have a nursery or mother baby room, take advantage of it if you have to. I do not expect my 16-month-old to sit through a service. I think that's a little extreme. But just start out, have her. Abby said her sister has been helping out with her, not her sisters. She got mad that I included Chloe in that. Yes, Abby watches her while I do piano lessons. So thanks to Abby, I can give piano lessons. But back to this, I would start out, most of them love song service. So start out during the song service. We almost always have Kelly in there with us during the song service, and she loves it. She sings out and stuff. It's really cute. And then she has made it through one service one time because I let her play in my purse the whole time. She was sitting in my lap, and she just kept taking stuff out of my purse and then putting it back in, taking it out, putting it back in. So maybe if you had some type of distraction like that, have a little bag that she's not normally allowed to get into, and then just let her take out stuff and put it back in. Maybe a couple little toys, just starting out, when they're under 2, it's really tough. I definitely would take it easy and go slow with them. I had someone else ask, what age do you expect and or begin to train a child to sit through church service? I would say closer to about 2 is when I do it. Most of the time between 2 and 3, they can kind of learn how to sit through most of the service. And then definitely by the time they're 3 or 4, they should be capable of sitting through an hour-long service. So I would say, though, anytime before 2, I don't really push it that hard. Maybe now with my older kids, I might have a little more. But as I have more and more, maybe I get more lax. I don't know. Or maybe I just realize that some battles aren't worth fighting. And for me, we can hear, my husband finally got it set up again in our nursery. We can hear the service as well. So they're still hearing the word being preached and all that back there. So it's just not a hill I'm willing to die on. It's not a big of a deal to me. If they're sitting through the service by 2 or 3, I'm happy with that. If that answers your question. So, let's see. Okay. I'm starting to lose some of these questions. So sorry if I skip over yours. I did not mean to, for sure. Okay. Biggest thing for a woman, shut thy mouth. It's so hard for us, but it will drive wedges that may be irreparable. And it is hard to keep our mouth shut. And you're right. Words do hurt. Whoever made up that little rhyme, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, was stupid, because words are very hurtful, for sure. So how do you cope with morning sickness, or do you feel like yours isn't too bad? Mine is going away now, thank the Lord. But how do I cope? I really like these vitamins I've been taking. They're along the same line as the conception vitamins, but they're called Glow. They're for maternity, and they have the good folate in it. They also have ginger in them, and vitamin Bs. And I react well to vitamin Bs. Some women do not. If you have the MTHR or whatever that thing is, genetic, you're not going to react well to vitamin Bs, and it will actually make you more nauseous. But for me, the vitamin Bs really help me. And I have found with this pregnancy that I can stay on top of it as long as I take my 2 vitamins a day. But if I slack off, the nausea comes back in full force. So those have been really, really good. I can link to it in the description. They're called Glow, and they're by the same line that made the conception vitamins. So for me, ginger does help, but I'm not a big ginger fan. So I kind of like it that they put it in the capsules, because then I'm not having to drink ginger tea or eat anything gingery, but I'm still getting the effect of it in the pills. As far as nausea, I kind of embrace nausea, because all my babies that I've lost, I've had no nausea with. So I really kind of enjoy it when I feel crummy. That sounds so funny. But I really enjoy it when I feel crummy, because I know babies healthy and doing very, very well. So, I just muddle through. I don't throw up with my pregnancies. I gag all the time. So, and that's kind of annoying. I feel like I need to throw up and I gag a lot at certain things, like especially if I think about certain things or when I brush my teeth, or even sometimes I just started drinking coffee again. But when I'm making it, I'm gagging. It's weird, but I like drinking it again. So I suffer through the gagging at first. Like I'm thinking about it now, I'm about to gag. It's weird. I don't know. And I'm a coffee lover. So yeah, it's just weird stuff like that. But yeah, the lemon drop. Yes. And lemon for some reason has really, really helped me this time. Anything lemony, lemonade, lemon candy, like she said, I don't know why. And oranges. I have loved oranges this pregnancy. So I don't know if my body's craving vitamin C or what, but anything citrusy. Lemonade has been really the only drink I've been able to drink. Water has made me gag. So what I've been doing is I've been squeezing fresh lemon into water and adding a little bit of sugar and drinking it that way with ice. And that really seems to help. It's weird. Yeah, I didn't know. I'm surprised. I thought it was just me with the lemon. So that's funny. That's funny that it helps you too. Okay. Let's see. I don't think I'm baking twins. We had the ultrasound and she said there's only one in there right now. So, okay, let me see. Oh, there's another one that likes oranges. That's so funny. She said, for morning sickness, I used to keep slices of oranges and saltine crackers. Yes. What is it about citrus? Maybe I thought it was just me, but obviously lots of women, citrus helps them. Yeah. Every day I eat at least 1 or 2 oranges. I don't know why. It's just, I love the citrus fruit. And yes, I also nibble on crackers as well. So that's funny, Jen. Is it expensive to have a baby in the hospital? I'm from Canada, so I was just wondering. It depends on what your insurance is. If you're on state insurance, it's not expensive because you're not really paying much out of pocket. If you are on private insurance, and we've had all different kinds of insurances. If you are on private insurance through company like Walmart is what our insurance is for most of our kids. We would pay about $1,000 out of pocket after insurance covered the rest. And I think we had like an 80-20 deductible. We paid 20% and the company paid 80%. So it was usually right at $1,000 out of pocket. Now, I've never had a home birth, so I don't know what that runs, but my hospital labors have also been on the cheaper side because I have had all of them pain med free, no epidural, no complications. I bring my own stuff most of the time. Actually, I started doing that after our first because my husband asked for an itemized bill. And when we started going through, we noticed the exorbitant prices they were charging for everything, like, Tux hemorrhoid pads. It was like $25 for a little thing of. So the next baby we had a year later and we had just finished paying off. We were paying like $100 a week or something, or no, it was like $25 a week. I don't know. It was some low amount like that. Every week my husband would go write the $25 check, go pay the hospital. And then as soon as we got done paying him off, we had our next. So for my second baby, I brought like everything with me. I refused pretty much anything that they wanted to give to me. And I think that lowered it a little bit, but it's usually right around $1,000 out of pocket after insurance, but it depends on your insurance. So it's just, not everyone is on state here. Like I believe everyone in Canada, it's universal healthcare. So it's not like that in the US. You have private insurance companies. I know insurance companies like Samaritan, you pay up front and then Samaritan reimburses you with checks. And they have been really good. My friend had them when she had cancer and they covered everything. They covered all expenses. So they have been very good. So Morgan said 30,000. Whew. I know we always paid 1,000 out of pocket. So that's a lot of money. Can you do a live stream on the process of disciplining children from the bad behavior to the spanking to how to conclude the situation with your little one on my husband's YouTube? I think you left me a message. I think you did it to the Gently Led Sisters Instagram. Email me, Simone, at gentlyledsisters@gmail.com, and I will try to answer these questions on this. I don't like having a lot of videos out there about spanking because it is so controversial and people can take it so wrong. So I would prefer to have you listen to preaching on that. I know my husband has done videos about discipline. I know lots of other preachers have done videos on disciplining and things of that nature. And I know it's tough when parents don't know what they're doing and they're just starting out. It is tough not to know, to know, what do I spank for? What do I not spank for? It's all about finding balance. It's about not being too excessive, but not being too lenient. Having the punishment fit the crime, things like that, of that nature. So, but I will be glad to address that in a more private situation. So I will just email me your questions and concerns at gentlyledsisters@gmail.com. And I will definitely answer that. So, and thank you. But yeah, I will definitely answer that in an email. As far as disciplining generically, I will address those questions, obviously. But when it comes down to how you discipline your child, that is definitely a decision you and your husband have to make. And just be consistent, whatever you decide. And just find the right balance. Definitely find the right balance. So, okay. Can I share your GLS blog on Pinterest, mainly the one on soul lineage scriptures? Go for it. All of my stuff is public, so you can share it anywhere. Any platform you so desire, go ahead. I'm a first-time mom of a 9-month-old and will be getting to that point soon, looking to get a mind picture of how it works. I was not raised with the right kind of discipline, that's for sure. It is tough. It is tough when, those of us that were raised in, those of us that are second-generation Christians and we were raised the right way, we kind of have a handle coming into it. We've watched other families and how they discipline, and, we've seen what works, we've seen what doesn't work. It is hard when you haven't been raised the right way and you're new to all this. Like, where do I start? What do I do? And so I will definitely try to give you advice. 9-month-old, I do not believe in spanking babies. I draw a hard line at that. Kelly is getting to the age, though, at 16 months where she's talking. So she's starting to talk and she's starting to understand words and she's starting to know how to throw a temper tantrum. And so by the time they get to about 1.5 years, 2, you definitely need to start incorporating some discipline into their life. So, but go ahead and email me and I'll share more with you. So Nicole said, I paid out of pocket at hospital for $6,000 and midwife $3,000, but now I get insurance just in case. Yeah, $30,000 seems really high, Morgan. That I don't think it's $30,000. I don't know what, let's see, 20%, maybe right at 8 or 9,000 were mine, right around 8 or 9,000 with no complications. So that seems really pricey. How would you say you can deal with conflict from other women at church? I would say, just be forthright. Why did that word come into my brain? Be forthright. What am I like in medieval times now? Be forthcoming, be forthright. I would be straightforward. I love straightforward people. I tend to be very straightforward myself. My church ladies can tell you this. If I see a problem, I address it. I don't really sweep things under the rug. And luckily, most of my ladies they're not snowflakes. So they're able to take it. And I love them for that. So they are able to take it. And, I'm fine with us disagreeing on things. Learn that you can be friends and have differences of opinions. You know, I will always express my opinion. If one of my church ladies has a different one, that's fine. I don't care. They're entitled to that opinion. It's not going to ruffle my feathers. It's not going to bother me in the least. And I have thick skin so that I can take it. Not everyone has to agree with me. So I would just, if you sense a problem, I'm the type to tackle things head on. I don't like having an elephant in the room. So if I sense an elephant in the room and it's awkward, I don't like that. And so I'll just address it. Because for me, it's always better when things are out in the open and you don't have hidden I can't say it. You don't have hidden anger. You don't have hidden anger for someone going on. So I prefer it when everything's just out in the open. So I don't like passive aggressiveness. I don't like sneakiness. I don't like pushing stuff under the rug, hiding stuff under the rug. So, be straightforward, but yet know who you're being straightforward with. Be a little more sensitive if you think you're gonna hurt their feelings. Try to be aware of who you're talking to. So, okay, smash that like button. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Yeah, and a lot of times, Nicole, when you pay for cash in a hospital, they will give you percentages off, huge percentages off. They'll write off a ton. So they might have said 30,000, Morgan, because they're like charging you for everything. And that's what they tend to do if you have insurance. So yeah, they will give you huge cash discounts if you are. Okay, so let's see. Oh, yeah. Pray for the ones, ladies, if you know someone that's trying to get pregnant, pray for them. They could really use your enmity for animosity. There we go. Animosity. Sometimes I can see the word in my brain, but unless I see it written down, that's what I meant. Animosity. Enmity. What animals do you have? We have 0 animals right now. We actually live on 3 acres with the barn in the back. We completely cleaned out the barn during this beginning of the stupid quarantine. So we cleaned out our barn and a basement. So it's ready for chickens whenever we get it ready. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done to it before we could have chickens in there. So we would love to have chickens someday. I would love to plant a garden this week or next. I know it's finally getting warmer in Illinois. So no garden or no animals yet right now. Zero cats, 0 dogs, 0 hamsters, 0 whatever. My husband's like, never again. He doesn't want animals ever again. Would I like to homestead? No, because our lives are just too busy. Our ministry is people and our ministry is the church. Our ministry is not homesteading. And I don't think we would just have the time or I don't think we'd have the time to do it or have the, ability, all the effort to put into it. So I don't think we want to homestead. I mean, maybe it'll come to that point, the way America's going, I don't know. But that's not like one of our priorities. No, even though we live on 3 acres. So, okay, so let me get to another. Okay, here's another question that was sent. Advice for an extremely picky 2.5-year-old who refuses to eat most anything and only wants to drink milk all day. At what age do you discipline for not eating what's being made and or letting them go hungry if they refuse to eat? Getting tired of making special meals that he half the time won't even eat. Oh, man. This is one area I really encourage baby-led weaning when they're small, because we've done that with Kelly, and I found she doesn't even like the typical kid food that most kids love. She loves adult food. She likes regular food. She likes food that we eat. I have a hard time getting her to eat hot dogs, chicken nuggets. She doesn't really even like that type of food. And I think a lot of it's because I did the baby-led weaning with her. She always just ate off my plate, so she got a taste for the really, really good food. And now she loves it when we make big dinners. She enjoys it. Like tonight we had spaghetti. She loved it. So start out young for your next one is what I'm trying to say. At 2.5, that's tough because I have had a picky eater. And, my pickiest eater was my second son. And I refused to make a whole bunch of extra meals. So basically I would make dinner and If he didn't eat, he didn't eat. It wasn't going to kill him. I knew he was getting plenty throughout the day. Definitely try to cut back on the milk. I've been trying to do that with Kelly. I feel like she eats, or she's taken to bottles since I weaned her. And she loves her bottles now, and she loves her milk. So I'm trying to not give her as much, and it's raw milk, so it's good for her. But I'm trying not to give her as much during the day because she needs that other nutrient from food too. So instead of water, instead of milk, try substituting water. And then I would just, make what you're making for the family, set it in front of him. And I think eventually he's just going to start eating if he gets hungry enough. I definitely don't starve him. Try to think of meals that you can maybe sneak some nutritious stuff into. I know there's cookbooks out there that you can make smoothies. Maybe if he'll drink a smoothie, you can sneak spinach in there and some yogurt and stuff that's good for him. Try to get him nutrients through that if he won't, sit down and eat the main meals. Anyone else, you leave advice for this question, because I have not had very many picky kids when it came to food. Maybe because I've never really gone out of my way to make extra meals if they were picky, and they just kind of learned to eat what was there. Or I know with my son Jason, now that he's a teenager, if he doesn't like what I make, he makes his own food. He makes a sandwich, or he'll buy himself a pizza. When they get older, it's a lot easier. But that age, it is a little bit of tough. So a little bit of tough. I'm saying some funny things tonight. What is expected when kids get married? Is it still father the bride pays for everything? Should parents pay for the honeymoon? I do not think parents should pay for the honeymoon. I think the groom should pay for the honeymoon. And we were able to pay for the honeymoon fine because, my husband had been saving before that. But then with our wedding money too, it more than covered. The way we did it, my mom did it this way for all of us, was my husband's family paid for the rehearsal dinner, and then my mom paid for the wedding, and each of the bridesmaids paid for their own dress. My mom paid for the flowers, and then my mom also, she pretty much paid for, so the father of the bride is the one that covers most of the wedding. And I think it's almost kind of like a dowry type thing. So the father of the bride covers most of it. Obviously, my dad had died by that time, but the thing that covered it was the life insurance money, some of the life insurance money that he left. So I did get a very beautiful wedding. I got a very beautiful reception, a very beautiful reception hall, and my mom paid for all of that. So I believe it is still that way. Some couples nowadays are going to where they both just pay for the wedding. But when a girl is living at home and maybe she doesn't have a job, that's not going to be feasible. So I definitely think that, at least for me, those rules kind of still apply, which we have 5 girls. So I might change my tune when we get to all 5 of those girls being married. So, but yeah, I definitely think that the groom should be putting money aside for the honeymoon. It's his bride now, it's his wife. So I think he should cover the honeymoon for sure. So yes, I love baby-led weaning. I think that is the key to having non-picky children as they get older. So let's see. Are we planning on going to any conference? Is my husband preaching at any this year? We had quite a few planned, and then the stupid Corona stuff took over. So we've already had some cancelizations. The one that comes out on the top of my head, I know my husband's going to, he was going to one Pastor Mejia and Pastor Fritz were doing. Is that coming up pretty soon? And I think that one was in Ohio, possibly. And then he is going to the Massa conference in October at Tempe. I'm trying to think of any other one. He's going to England this year. Yeah, I can't really think any off the top of my head, Wendy. I'll have to try to ask him and get back to you about that. So Daniel said, I used to sing tenor at my old IFB church, but since attending Faith Forward, I've been losing sight reading during congregationals. I play piano, but any advice on how to retain sight reading? You just got to do it. So you should still be able to sight read your tenor notes during congregationals, because those, just pick up a part and try doing it as you're doing it. I can actually look at a hymn book And just based off the notes that I'm seeing, I can sing the soprano part, and then I can pick out the alto part. I can pick out the guy's tenor part, and I can pick out the bass part even. So practice maybe doing that. Practice picking out different parts by ear and then playing it to see how close that you got it. Those are good sight reading exercises that you can do that. Yeah, I would definitely still be listening to music with lots of good parts in it and trying to pick it out by ear. But then also just take a hymn, take maybe an arrangement, and try to pick it out by sight reading and then playing it back and seeing how close that you got it. So, all right. Am I planning on going to Pennsylvania with your husband when he comes to preach? Oh, yeah, he was supposed to go to Pennsylvania too, and then he was never able to. No, Chloe was going with him actually to that. So I think she probably will still be going to him. So at what age do you think it's appropriate to date or court? I think at an age where first of all, the girl is emotionally stable and emotionally ready and emotionally, physically able to run a household. And then I think for a guy, when he is financially able to support a wife and he has proven himself to be a good hard worker. So, I mean, even though my son is only 18 and a half, he probably thinks he's ready to get married. No, but he's really matured in this last year. He's making a man's wage right now. So I would say for him, by the time he's 19 and a half, he would be ready to definitely date or court with the purpose of marriage. So, and it just depends on each child. It's gonna vary from child to child, how old they are, how mature they are. Every kid is different. So I was the oldest. I got married when I was 20. I probably would have been ready at 18. But I was old. I was the oldest one. I was independent. My dad had died, and that kind of made me grow up. So it definitely varies, but I would say by 19 for sure, most kids are ready if they've been raised right. So let's see. Okay, so we're almost out of time. I know it's been an hour. So let me go through these other ones real quick. Advice on how to teach my toddler to stop using the diaper. Just take it off and potty train him. When my kids turn 2, I buy them underwear for their birthday, and I let them run around for a week in underwear, and they pretty much figure it out. So that's what I do. I just take the diapers away. And within a week or 2, they've gotten it figured out. So I have done a show on potty training. Check that out if you want for further information. And then I have one more question on here I want to get to real quick. Advice for those going to IFB churches who pressure you about putting your kids in the nursery. Okay, so I come from an old IFB church, and I've always been involved in nursery, in programs, children's programs, things like that. And first of all, understand that when you start going to an old IFB church, it's very like new to them that someone would not put their kids in the kids program, because just everyone does it. So try to do it in a way that you're not going to come across like you just you don't like them, you don't trust them, don't come across arrogant or mean about it. I would, this particular person that emailed me or private messaged me was saying that they've really been putting a lot of pressure on her, and they don't understand, why she won't put her kids in nursery or why she won't put her kids in the kids program. And my advice would definitely be have a talk with the pastor, and just in a nice way say, it's nothing against you guys, but we want to have our kids with us all the time. It's not that we don't trust you. It's not that we don't trust any of our church members, but we just take, we want our kids with us. That's just something we've decided on. And we believe it's important for them to be with us and to be under our training and to be sitting and listening to the preaching and the singing and all that. So I would definitely have a talk with the pastor about it. And then maybe he can talk to the ones in charge of the nursery, in charge of the children's ministries, and say, don't bug them about this. They've decided they want to keep their kids with them. It's not a big issue. Just as a pastor's wife, that's how I would like it handled. sometimes it's just easier to confront it head on than just kind of like, oh, well, no, we're just going to keep our kid with us, no nursery today, So it's just sometimes easier just to confront it head on and just let them know, we're going to keep our kids with us. Like I said, it's nothing against you. This is just something we've decided. So a lot of times old IP people take it personally, like, what, you think I'm a pervert? Do you think, they take it personally. So just try not to make it a personal thing. Just make it more about, this is a decision we've decided for our family, and we're just letting you be aware of it. It's nothing against you. It's nothing against the programs of the church. It's just, this is what we've decided. So I don't know if that helps, but yeah, exactly, Jen. She said, I just explained to them why I don't if they keep pushing. Yeah. And then Ashley said, many church nurseries now have video cameras for extra protection for the kids. They do. And I would just, I would approach it with the pastor, but in a nice way, just not, I wouldn't be overbearing about it or pushy about it or, just in your face about it. But I would just say, we just wanted to let you know, your attitude and how you come across is it's going to go far when it comes to something like that. So Dana said, we were asked to not come back to a church because we wouldn't put our kids in the program, even though we weren't loud at all, and we drove over an hour to go there. I'm sorry that happened. I really don't understand that mindset, because even when I was a teenager growing up and I worked in the nursery and we had kids programs, there was families that kept their kids with them, and it wasn't a big deal. Our church didn't pressure them. We didn't push it. It was not a big deal. Whatever, it's their choice. And they never got any pushback from us for it. So I really don't understand that mindset. There does seem to be in churches sometimes a very hostile attitude towards children being in the service, and that's sad to me. One thing that's come out of this corona is that now that churches are meeting together again, they are not having children's programs, so everyone's back together worshiping. And that's kind of neat, because it's kind of going back to the olden days and, the old-fashioned times when everyone would meet together. So that is one plus of this coming out of this, is that everyone's back together in the same room, we're worshiping together. So if that makes sense, it's like one of the plus. I'm trying to find some of the pluses about this. So let me see. Okay, so I think that is all of the questions that I got. So hurry up and ask one now before I sign off if you haven't, because that's about all that we have time for. What are your thoughts about VBS? I happen to love VBS because I have a lot of good memories of it. I have a lot of good memories at church camps. I'm sorry, I can't help it. And back when we went to the church camp with my kids, I never had a problem with them, because they didn't hire counselors. The parents or the chaperone were the counselors. So you got to stay with the kids that you brought from your church. So I would always just bring my kids and I'd stay with them the whole week. So I was with them the entire week. So if you can find a church camp like that, by all means do it. It's so much fun. VBS, the same. I feel the same way about it. Back when our church did VBS at Lighthouse, we had everyone together, and the parents could come if they wanted. We had everyone in the auditorium. So we weren't really splitting off all these million places. We all did arts and crafts together. We all did activities together, all in the auditorium together. So the parents were more than welcome to come. I think they're a great opportunity for giving the gospel out and just having a fun outlet for kids during the summer. So I love VBS. So that's just my personal thought on it. Will I do a video on cloth diapers? I could do a short video. I do have some cloth diapers and I do use them. I just did last week because I ran out, so I used them for a few days. So I will keep that in mind. In 2 weeks, I believe 2 or 3 weeks, I want to do a special video and have on different guests from around maybe different countries, from around the US, just about how they've been handling the corona and what's been going on in their state as they deal with the coronavirus and everything that has gone along with that. So be ready for that. I just reached out to someone today about coming on next week. We'll see if she answers back. special gifts. But then in 2 weeks, I believe I'm going to have the special Corona. In 2 or 3 weeks. I also have a giveaway coming up too that I'm excited about. Someone contacted me today, and they are making, it's going to say COVID, either COVID or Corona. Can't remember what she said. COVID-19-84 shirts. And so I'm going to have a matching set to give away to a husband and wife that I'm going to be doing on a show in a couple weeks. Maybe I can do that on the special Corona episode. So look for those. That's going to be fun. So yeah, I have that stuff coming up. So definitely be looking for those. I'm excited. So I hope you guys all have a good week and you all survive. Pray for us over here in Illinois this week. Things are heating up, and this week will be a big week for Illinois. The order might be getting declared unconstitutional this week in Illinois. So Friday at 1 is a big, big court case that's coming up. And if this court case goes well, it could turn the tide for how things are going in Illinois. So really, really pray for that. So anyways, I think that is it. And if I didn't answer your question, put it down in the chat and I will try to answer it, and leave a comment. Email me if you ever have any questions. More personal questions, just email me. I will try to answer them as soon as possible. Okay, thank you very much, Andrea. All right, guys, I will see you next week. Bye.